Ahoy there, I'm Captain Chris. I'm not a real captain, but in this video I'm going to give you all the top tips and insider information on the Marella cruise ship, the Marella Discovery 2. And remember that she is the sister ship to the Marella Discovery, so the two ships are pretty much the same. I'm going to tell you about the food, the all-inclusive drinks, and stay tuned until the end because I've got a great tip coming up to help you find your way around on board that not everyone knows about, so you won't want to miss that one. So I'm going to start with one of the main selling points of a Marella cruise, which is that your drinks, including alcoholic drinks, are all included in your fare. The standard all-inclusive package includes selected draft beers and ciders, as well as bottles and cans, selected wine by the glass, standard spirits and aperitifs, selected cocktails including Mai Tais and Long Island iced tea, as well as mocktails, soft drinks and fruit juices. If you pay extra to upgrade to the premium all-inclusive package, you'll get a wider choice of cocktails like mojitos and margaritas, premium brand gins, rums and tequila, and a wider selection of whiskies and brandy, and you'll also get canned soft drinks too. One big difference between the standard all-inclusive and the premium though is to do with the speciality coffee from the coffee port on deck 6. Here's the menu for this place, and none of this is included in the standard package, so you'd have to pay the prices shown on the menu. All the prices marked with a star are included in the premium package, but there are still some items marked with a cross that aren't included in either package. So is it worth paying the extra for the premium all-inclusive drinks package? No, not really, unless you really must have the premium brands or you've got a severe coffee addiction. Otherwise, you may as well just stick to the standard all-inclusive and just buy an occasional coffee or premium drink as you go along. A couple of other tips to do with the drinks are that you don't need to take drinks with you when you go to the theatre shows because there are plenty laid out on a table as you walk in, including cans of beer, glasses of wine and cocktails for you to just take as you walk by, which is much easier than collecting drinks from a bar before the show and carrying them along with you. And also that there is Foster's Lager as well as red, white and rosé wine on tap for you to help yourself to in Islands Buffet all day, not breakfast time, so that you're never really far from your next drink on a Marella cruise. And it's also worth mentioning that all of the crew gratuities are included with Marella, which is great. We went on a cruise with Princess Cruises recently, and not only were tips not included, but 18% was added to the price of every drink, which felt like you were tipping twice. Nothing like that on Marella. Marella, as you may know, is owned by the holiday company TUI. This made many parts of our holiday experience seem seamless because the flights and transfers were all by TUI as well, which means that you don't have to stress about the ship leaving without you if your flight's delayed, and the transfers were easy with TUI staff waiting for you at the airport to point you in the right direction. The Marella Discovery and her sister ship, the Discovery 2, are big cruise ships, but by no means the largest. With 11 decks, 9 restaurants, 7 bars and 2 swimming pools, they carry up to 1,836 passengers. We've recently sailed on Princess Cruises' Sky Princess and Virgin Voyages' Resilient Lady, and they carry twice as many passengers. And the MSC Virtuosa and P&O's Avia hold 3 times as many. But we really enjoyed being on a smaller ship because it all felt a bit more relaxed, and we could always find a seat in a theatre or in the bars and lounges, whereas that's been a problem for us on bigger ships. If you're travelling with children, Marella's M Club caters for children aged from 3 to 11 and is included in your fare. And there's the Hideout for kids aged 12 to 17, and the Gamer Zone is a room full of Xboxes, which is a great way to entertain those kids for a few hours. Teenagers aren't usually interested in the daytime activities on board, so this could be just what they want. If you're looking for a bit of retail therapy to fill in those days at sea, there are loads of shops on board selling all the usual selection of watches, handbags, clothing, sunglasses, souvenirs and duty free. Actually, I didn't think the prices were too bad on our Marella cruise, and there are regular sales, offers and discounts, the details of which are listed in your cruise news leaflet, which you get on board every day. If you like your pamper treatments, Ocean Spa was also reasonably priced compared with some other cruise lines. You could buy a day pass for only £29 when we went. Obviously prices change over time, but check out the spa if you're interested and you might be pleasantly surprised. If something a bit more physical is your idea of fun, then Ocean's Gym on Deck 9 is worth a look. Again, it's not the biggest, being on a smaller ship, but it was well equipped with great views out while you're using the treadmills and so on, and it was never full when we went, so we could always find a machine to use. If outdoor jogging is your thing, there's a running track where 4 laps make a mile. There's a mini golf outside on Deck 10 as well, and if you've still got some energy left after all that, there's a climbing wall right at the back of the ship, so you can have a go at getting to the top of that, and you are attached by a safety harness, so if you do fall off, you won't just drop straight into the sea. Speaking of things that were reasonably priced, we thought the excursions available were priced pretty fairly, to be honest, and of course they're all organised by TUI, which means that they'll definitely get you back to the ship on time, and it's so much easier if something needs to be changed. We booked an excursion before we left home on the island of Santorini, but on the day we were supposed to go the weather was windy, so our itinerary got switched around and we stopped at Santorini on a different day. Because we'd booked our excursion with the cruise line, everything was taken care of for us and our excursion was swapped to the relevant day, but imagine what a nuisance that would have been if we'd booked our own excursion privately. There's definitely an advantage in booking Marella's own excursions. Next to the food. The Discovery 2 has several places to eat that are included in your fare and a few more places that come at an extra charge. The main dining room is called 47 Degrees and is pretty big, although again not the biggest I've ever seen. Something we really enjoyed about dining here was that there was huge windows all around giving great views out to sea, and when the sun was out they had sunshades on the windows which they lowered on the side of the ship that was getting the sun, but just as the sun began to go down they raised the screen so that everybody could enjoy the beautiful sunset. We thought that was a really nice touch. Above here is a gallery dining area split into 2 halves. On one side is Piccadilly's restaurant, which serves traditional British food like a really nice gastro pub, and the other side is called Gallery 47 and serves a gorgeous Italian menu. In here and in Piccadilly's the menu changes halfway through the week, but downstairs in 47 Degrees it changes every day. On Deck 9 there's the glass house with warm temperatures and an indoor pool, and here there's a daily menu of breakfast, lunch, dinner and late night snacks. They serve pizza and pasta, sandwiches and bowls, and there's a nice selection of desserts too. This place isn't a formal restaurant with waiter service, but instead it's much more casual and relaxed, although people do dress smartly in the evenings. We enjoyed what we had there and there's plenty of seating with great views out. Along from here and near to the main outdoor swimming pool is the Snack Shack, which is a grab and go style venue where you can sit at the tables or take your food with you to enjoy by the pool. They serve burgers and chips, salad boxes and fruit, as well as sandwiches, cookies and other things. It's really difficult to walk past this place without picking something up, so it could be your downfall. One of the most popular places to eat on any cruise ship is usually the buffet. On Discovery 2, the Islands buffet was large, but again, not too large, and so we could always find a seat, and it never felt too much like we were in the middle of a rugby scrum when we were collecting our food. They have a theme each day, like Indian, Mexican or Italian, but there's plenty besides if you don't fancy that, and there's drinks there too which are free for everyone, and afternoon tea is available if you've still got room. From 12 to 3 in the afternoon there's free soft serve ice cream, and I've already mentioned the lager and wine on tap. If you have any special dietary requirements, Marella cruises were very good at labelling their food. There are signs showing various food allergens and giving each one a symbol. Then you just watch out for the symbol on each section of the buffet that you visit to make sure you don't pick up something that's going to cause you a problem. I thought they did this really well. Up on deck 11 there's bar 11 and 3 further places to eat which do come at an extra cost. There's a sushi bar which serves sushi rolls, sashimi and nigiri, and was always popular with great views out to sea from the top deck. Korala is a Pan-Asian a la carte restaurant serving fantastic dishes like Indian Spice King prawns and Indonesian beef rendang curry, and it's very popular, so you'll probably need to make a reservation here. And Surf and Turf is the steakhouse which serves steaks and lobster as well as other meat and fish options, and there's plenty for vegetarians too. Again, you'll probably need to book a table here, but it's well worth it if you do. In fact, every restaurant on board was excellent. I tried to eat in every one, for research obviously, and if you just stick to the ones that are included in your fare, you'll be missing out on some really good food in the others. But if you want to keep costs down and only eat in the included restaurants, you'll still find there's plenty of choice. If you usually book a balcony cabin on your cruise, you should definitely consider upgrading to a junior suite. Deck 8 is full of them, and they're significantly wider and more spacious than a regular balcony cabin, with loads of storage space. If you're travelling with 3 or 4 of you sharing a cabin, you'll be glad of this extra elbow room, and they come with 1 continental breakfast in bed per person per week, a free pressing service for 3 items per stay, a coffee machine and pods, slippers, a dressing gown, upgraded toiletries and a choice of pillows, so it's an upgrade that's well worth considering if your budget allows. Now we come to that little known tip that I promised you at the beginning. The corridors on cruise ships are really long, they feel like they go on forever. Sometimes you take the lift or stairs up to the deck where your cabin is, only to find that you're at completely the wrong end of the ship and you've got to make a long despondent trudge along the corridors to get to your room. If only there was a way to know which staircase or lift would pop you out closest to where you want to be. Well, on this ship there is. There are 2 main lift lobbies with staircases, one at the front and one midships, and the carpets there are colour-coded. The carpets in the centre of the ship are red and the carpets at the front are purple. So all you have to do is remember which colour is nearest to your cabin and then always take that colour when you're heading up to bed. Check out another one of my videos next, and until next time, thanks for watching.